Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are here, and it's another episode of the Racing Debrief, and it's Sonoma weekend. Of course, it was an off week for F1, so we just got some NASCAR topics to go over. Pretty much just a little bit of what happened at Sonoma. The Xfinity race was first. It was a race that happened. Kyle Larson pretty much just dominated the whole thing till the end. And, you had a late caution that let Eric Almirola get in the lead, and he was gone. Kyle Larson tried to catch up, hit the tires, kind of messed up his car a little bit on the turn 11 area. And we've seen an Eric Almirola win, so that happened. There really wasn't much in that Xfinity race. It was kind of just there. A lot of Cup drivers in the front. But yeah, that was pretty much Sonoma. With that, the Xfinity cars, it was definitely interesting to sort of see them on Sonoma. They typically have an interesting time on road courses. I think the Sonoma is one of those tracks that is cool location-wise. It's got an interesting layout, but isn't as exciting racing necessarily as the other road courses from, making contact with each other on the track. But again, I still think Sonoma's a great track. I really enjoy watching it. Again, any road course that comes up, I'm definitely there for it. So the Cup race, next gen cars, been interesting on road courses to say the least. Sonoma with next gen cars is, I guess, a little bit more lacking than some of the other ones. I think Circuit of the Americas was good last year. Road America was good. Watkins Glen. So seeing Sonoma again with this car, again, it can't ride over the curbs that well. So I think there's that. That definitely affects it. It can't take curbs. This car struggles. Which is unfortunate because, again, this car was really designed with the road courses in mind. Its layout, the look of it definitely has a lot of that road course vibe. And for the struggle to track like Sonoma is unfortunate. I think the racing overall, no stages, was interesting. Definitely had a little bit of strategy. We had the one caution right at the end of stage 2. So that threw a little bit of strategy into it. That was somebody like Kyle Busch get towards the front. Denny Hamlin kind of killed the first stage. Him and Martin Truex were gone. But, that caution, right as cars were starting to pit, put some of those guys towards the front. Truex drove to the field, though. Absolutely had the car to do it. And, he was gone. There was no stopping him. It pretty much seemed like Martin Truex had that thing on lock, and every time that he maybe didn't have the lead, he regained it pretty quickly. Towards the end, you had Tyler Reddick get a flat tire, and he cut through the turn 11 area to go back to the pits. That was a very interesting moment. Definitely not something anybody had really seen. I was surprised. That's definitely something you would see in a video game. Somebody be like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut through here." I remember so many times cutting through that section back in the day, like NASCAR 2005, to gain an advantage. Obviously, he did it in the opposite direction to go to the pits. Really good move. He got a pass-through penalty for it eventually, but, smart strategy. He wasn't going to get around the whole track. He got the flat tire coming to the start line, going to start another lap. So, it was definitely an interesting move, but Martin Truex pretty much dominated that race. Outside of that, he was gone. I feel like there isn't really much to say. Both races were kind of a lot. The races, they had their moments with a lot of just green flag racing, which is good to see. I didn't mind it. I just think there's not as much to go here and deep dive into in a video when both races this weekend were pretty much just one car was very dominant. It's kind of more when we go over our F1 video or the F1 portion. It's very much this is what happened that we expected. One driver to dominate it. So when you have something similar to that in NASCAR, I mean, it maybe affects the video a little bit, but I mean, I don't think the racing this week was bad. I think it'd be cool to see the next gen car maybe do some curb hopping a little bit more. That was definitely cool to see in the sixth gen car. That car raced pretty well at road courses. I think that it added a little bit to those tracks. So I'd like to see that, but we'll see what happens with the road courses in a few weeks. Of course, Chicago's coming up, so that will be in 3 weeks from now. Of course, next week is the off week for NASCAR, and then the NBC half of the season begins with Nashville, and then we'll see Chicago, Atlanta, New Hampshire. Those are like the first 4 on NBC, and once that starts, it's going all the way to the finish line. End of the season here. The last however many regular season races there are, 10. And then 10 playoff races. So it's getting to that point now. We're going to start to see who's got what they got to go in the playoffs. 10 drivers have won, so there's 6 spots to get in 10 races. I think we'll see if you guys get in on points for sure this year. Last year we had a little bit more of each driver getting 1 win, but so far we've seen a lot more multiple wins. I mean, Byron's got 3, Kyle Busch has 3, Kyle Larson's got 2, and Martin Truex has 2. So not as much of each week being somebody else getting a win. I mean, 10 winners so far isn't bad, but I don't think we're going to have the levels of 15 winners in the playoffs. And how many winners we had last year? 17 total? Because you had Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace winning once the playoffs began. So, yeah, 17 drivers winning last year. I don't think we'll hit that total, but I think we'll still see a good amount of drivers win races this year. So, again, looking forward next week for F1, we have Canada, and then in 2 weeks, NASCAR returns at Nashville. So, that's pretty much that. I mean, I don't really have anything else to discuss. Guess the only thing really to discuss, NASCAR Garage 56 at Le Mans did pretty well. I didn't watch in the race, but I've sort of seen some of it on Twitter throughout the day, on Reddit, both those places throughout the, day of the race. I believe they went 22 hours before something happened to the car at all, so that's impressive. They ended up finishing the race, so they just had to do a little bit of repairs, but that's pretty awesome to see that car do that much racing. That, really cool, again, to see NASCAR have a car in with those cars that you see at Le Mans. Like, it's pretty cool. It's awesome. Seeing the pictures of it in with those, hypercars and all that stuff was awesome. So there's that, I guess. The other rumor was NASCAR could race in Canada. That was the rumor I wanted to touch on. Of course, we're talking about Canada for F1. Same track, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve could have NASCAR at it as soon as next year. So that's an interesting rumor. I'm definitely curious to see if that does take place. Of course, we used to see Xfinity back there. What was it, 2007, 2008, 2009, that range? Back when it was the Nationwide Series, they would go to Canada. They also did a few races in Mexico. So that series has done a little bit of that. The trucks went to Canada, to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I believe it was 2013 until 2019, so they raced there. That was one of the tracks that got canceled because of COVID, and they just never went back. But, so the trucks used to go to Canada. Xfinity went to Canada and Mexico. So Cup is one of the ones that has only ever stayed in America. I mean, of course, had exhibition races in Japan, but actually doing a points race, that'd be interesting. See what happens. I'm all for it. But that's pretty much all I got to say for today's video. Yeah, that's that. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.